Good morning, E-Town. This is Dr. Campbell with Dr. Witherspoon. We hope you had a good spring break, or at least a spring break to be able to recharge. Good morning, Eric. It's good to see you.
Marcus, good morning. We seem to see each other remotely all the time anymore, so it's nice, even at this distance, to say hello to you.
Yes, and I had to say, I miss you, Eric. We normally see each other every day, all day, and we have not seen each other, so it's kind of nice to be in the same physical space.
I have missed you too. It's a strange feeling I'll share with everybody to be at a high school, any school, but one of this size, and have it be so empty. Yet I just have to say to everybody, thank you. Thank you for what you're doing to make this work. Thank you for what you're doing to keep ETHS in session, to keep school happening. Students, you are logging in and you're doing your studies. It's just critical. You're going to hear more about that in just a few minutes from Dr. Bavis about why that's so important, so that you will indeed complete your credits for this quarter and for this semester. But I want to just give one quick reminder again, and I've done this numerous times, but this is aimed mainly at our students. And any adults listening in, please, any way you can communicate this to our students, I just really ask you to please do that. And that's stay at home. I know that this has got to be hard. Adults are going crazy with it. I can't even imagine what it must be like to be a teenager and to have your environment so restricted and to be hearing over and over again, you need to stay at home. But I just really want to stress to you, it may be a few weeks. It may, already it's been a month from ETHS. We know it's going to go at least through the end of April. That seems like a long, long time. But in the scheme of life, it's still a matter of weeks or months. But it's about the health and the safety and the lives of you, and very importantly, because it's affecting others far more than young people, the lives of the people you interact with. So I just encourage you again. Fortunately, you've been doing a good job, but I know it's going to continue to get harder and harder, and I want you to just be reminded that you're doing it for yourself, you're doing it for your family, you're doing it for your loved ones, you're doing it for other human beings who may not have the same resistance and strength that you have. But with that, welcome back for spring break. Here we are, and we have some good messaging for you this morning. And just never forget, as we talk about doing your schoolwork and keeping up with your credits, it really is a great day to be a wild kid. Marcus.
Thank you, Dr. Witherspoon. This is a special E-Town Live dedicated to a discussion about grades and e-learning. We are very proud of the efforts that all of our teachers and our students have done over the past several weeks. As Dr. Witherspoon mentioned, people have been logging on. Our staff remains adaptive and flexible. Students, thank you for all of the hard work that you've been doing, and we want to continue that over the next couple of weeks. Like other school districts in Illinois, we are paying very close attention to guidance from the Illinois State Board of Education with regard to grades, how we issue grades, and how we're supposed to navigate this environment. We've gotten some guidance from the Illinois State Board of Education, and this morning we have Dr. Pete Bavis, who's the Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, who is going to give us an overview of the guidance from ISB and what we're doing about grades, what we're doing about attendance. And so, Pete, I want to thank you for joining us this morning, although remotely. We appreciate you taking the time to share with our students and families and guardians as to what we're doing about all of these components. So with that being said, Pete, can you just start by giving us a general overview, and then Eric and I will have a few questions that we know are in the, on the minds of our students and families, and we'll go from there. Dr. Bavis?
Sure, thanks. Thanks, Dr. Campbell, and thanks, Dr. Witherspoon, for having me on. I wanted to start just by saying hello to everybody out there. And really, I wanted to share two principles that inform our decision making and our work around grades. And those two are do no harm and stay engaged. Look, this is an evolving situation. Each day we listen to the governor. Each day we monitor the State Board of Education website. We learn of shelter at home extensions. We learn about remote learning guidelines from the state on Friday night before they go into effect on Monday morning. Our teachers rally, our department chairs rally, our administrators rally, our employees rally. We are nimble, we adapt. Look, this situation is not our students' fault. It's not our community's fault. It's not ETHS's fault. Let's acknowledge up front, our students are not online students. Our teachers are not online teachers. And our curriculum is not an online curriculum. ETHS is the largest public school under one roof in the United States. In many respects, we're the opposite of an online school. Now, the good news is our teachers and students have responded. They've made the best of the situation. We hear positive stories all the time. We do know that the performance of students this semester will reflect more than mastery of a subject, but will be impacted by differences between students due to their different health situations, the health of their loved ones, different access to technology, and different home situations. This is an equity issue. This is not business as usual. For example, once we learned that e-learning would continue through April 30th, we canceled semester exams. This is the first time we have ever canceled semester exams. That's why we want to ensure that our students' grades and GPAs don't suffer. We don't want to do any harm. The state has told us to use an incomplete instead of an F. The state has told us that a student's grade cannot go lower than it was on March 13th. The state has told us to not administer assessments that are inappropriately high stakes remotely. That means earned honors assessments for all of you freshmen, sophomores, juniors taking earned honors courses. And the state will tell us more, and we will adapt. Know this, though, beyond what the state tells us, we will be responsive to this. Right now, we are using a letter-based grading system, A to D, including plus and minus grades, and incomplete instead of failing grades. In the coming weeks, we will be reaching out to students who received incompletes third quarter so that they can work toward a passing grade. The good news is that right now, your grades can only go up if you participate in e-learning. As this unprecedented situation evolves, we will evolve too. And it's very important to note that universities understand this situation. Universities are aware that high schools are facing disrupted schedules, indefinite suspensions, or have moved to online education like ETHS. Students attending schools that have enacted precautionary measures related to the spread of coronavirus will not be penalized in application reviews. Universities across the country have made it clear that students are missing tests, standardized tests, or even in the event that they post credit and no credit transcripts for the semester. One of the most clear explanations of these assurances comes from Harvard University. I encourage you to visit that website for details. Look, this semester will also be explained on our school profile in detail. We will delineate the steps we have taken this semester to ensure that our students receive a quality education and that we did no harm. The second principle is even more important, and that is stay engaged. When we look back on this crisis 3 months or 6 months or a year from now, we want to say that we all did our best for our students under the circumstances. This means keeping our students engaged in learning the main things they need to learn in our courses. It means keeping students connected to their classes. Critically important in setting our students up for success. After all, our curriculum builds year to year, course to course. We know that next year in our sequential courses, we will have to spend some time at the beginning of the school year reviewing, reteaching, and in some cases, introducing content that would have been covered during this quarter. We are on that. We will be working to ensure that we don't miss a beat. In the coming weeks, please pay particular attention to the letter I in Home Access Center. I stands for incomplete. Remember, we're not issuing failing grades this semester, but an incomplete for a course means just that. A student has not completed the work for the course. Engage in e-learning. Do your assignments. Redo your assignments if necessary. Stay engaged, grow, develop, and above all, be safe. Because you know what? We hope to see everyone real soon in the largest high school under one. So where does it all start? For me in my house, it starts each morning with an e-learning day sign-in form. I get my student gets an email every morning that announces that it's an e-learning day. The email takes him to a form where he signs in. Teachers take attendance using the e-learning day data on the check-in form. And this is important for students. You must submit that form each day it's generated to be counted as present. Students who are unable to sign in using the form, unable to access the internet, or who do not participate in e-learning for that day should report their absences according to the existing school procedures. And yeah, that's I think that's the beginning of the conversation, Dr. Campbell and Dr. Witherspoon. So if you guys would like me to elaborate on anything, happy to do it, and happy to be here this morning.
Well, thank you, Dr. Bavis. Just a couple questions. Thank you for the attendance. There have been some. We just like to review that, rehearse that, so that families know that there's a daily attendance link that goes out. So I appreciate you lifting that. But my first question is, what does this all mean for students who have IEPs and 504s? Can you address that for us?
Sure. The guidance on 504s and on IEPs are that they should be followed. Materials should be adapted for our students with IEPs and 504s, and that 504 and IEP meetings are continuing as remotely, and that our teachers are going to continue to attend those. So if you have questions regarding your student's IEP and 504, the first step is to contact the teacher and to walk through those assignments and those supports.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I think Dr. Witherspoon has a question for you.
Yeah, I do. Again, Dr. Bavis, thank you again for being with us this morning. And I know that you're really providing a lot of good information for everybody. Would you also talk to our teachers, our educators a minute, and just give any advice that you have to them about adjusting their lessons and adjusting what we're doing each day to keep education going here at ETHS?
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Witherspoon. I think first and foremost, we need to pay attention to students' well-being. Like I said earlier in my remarks, these are unprecedented situations, and that we really just need to be connecting our students as best we can to the curriculum, and to provide assignments that continue to keep the students engaged, but are not high stakes. They're not make or break it. They build on one another. And really to look at them and say, what is absolutely most important in the next week, in the next 2 weeks, in the next, to really focus in on and to plan accordingly. Small incremental lessons, skills-based, are always helpful in these times. And really also be mindful of what students have available for them at home in terms of supports. At the high school, we have robust academic supports every day available to our students. For many of our students, those supports outside of ETHS aren't necessarily there. So we also need to be aware of that we're not asking students to do anything that is not within their abilities on their own at this point.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Bavis, you also mentioned something in your initial overview about doing no educational harm. Can you talk a little bit about what that means?
Yeah, the way that's defined by the state and the way we're looking at it is we don't want our students' grades or GPAs to suffer during this pandemic. It goes to what I said about how, you know, grades this semester, performance this semester is really going to reflect more than the mastery of the course. As much as we would love to say that the grades reflect the mastery of the content and skills of the subject, we can't say that this time. There are just so many differences that the students are going to encounter. Health situations, health of loved ones, access to technology, being confined psychologically to your home. These all are going to play into the grade, and we don't want those grades to go down. We want all of those grades to go where steps to ensure that. But the bottom line is, do no harm means your GPA and your grades will not suffer as a result of this pandemic.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Um, just one more thing before we wrap up. I want to. This is not on our talking points and our agenda for today, but I do know it is on the hearts and minds of all of the class of 2020, a good portion of the class of 2020, and that's about prom and graduation. We've not yet determined what we're going to do with prom and graduation. We're still waiting on some guidance from our governor and the Illinois Department of Health. However, we have asked our legal team here at ETHS to review our contracts, and we're looking at other dates, possibly later dates, after this is all settled and we're allowed to reconvene with one another. So just know that we are reviewing some options. We want our seniors to have these experiences. I plan on participating and sharing my senior photo on social media like so many of you have already done to honor and to recognize what our seniors are dealing with at the moment. So just know, class of 2020, we are working on prom, we're working on graduation, and if we can still have it on the dates that we have outlined in the school calendar, we will, and if we cannot, we are going to make adjustments. We want you to have this experience for yourselves and for your families, and so I just wanted to bring that up because I know there's been a lot of conversation about it. So I'm going to turn this back over to Dr. Witherspoon for our closing.
All right. And again, Marcus, thank you very much. I'll just reiterate to all of our students and certainly to our seniors that it has to be so frustrating because it's just so much unknown. And, we don't know, for example, if the governor is going to keep schools closed for the month of May or not. We don't know how much longer the stay-at-home order is going to be in effect. I'm not even so sure that the governor has all the answers to that at this very moment, just simply because we are all dealing with a fluid situation here. We're dealing with a situation that none of us have ever experienced before, and we have to see what the pattern and the progress of this virus is so that those kind of decisions can be made. But students, seniors, we're going to do everything we can to make this some kind of a closure for you for your school year. We have plans A, plans B, plan C, plans D. We have a lot of options that we continue struggling through. And so much is going to depend on what the virus is doing and what the orders are in the coming weeks, and even maybe in the coming month. But believe me, we are holding you in our hearts. We are going to try to come up with whatever will work to bring some kind of closure to your school year, and to also make sure that all of you, seniors and all students, are getting your credits and being able to move on academically here at ETHS. One reminder, our Student Health Center is still open. The North Shore Health Clinic here at ETHS is open. It's available for students. We know many of you use this service as your provider for health services. And if you want to check in with them, if you have a concern, if you have something routine that you need to be taking the time to do with them, please just go to our webpage And you can either look under our health clinic or our coronavirus links, and you will find information. If you're having trouble following up on that, students just simply send me an email, and I'll be sure that it gets to them so you can schedule an appointment to come in for whatever services you need. But it is by appointment only, so be sure that you're checking out how to do that, or at least checking out with me how you can make that contact. This is actually the first day back from spring break, as we said when we started, and we'll be back on Friday for an update. We're not going to be doing this every Monday and Friday, but we thought that it was important to get that messaging out from Dr. Bavis today, to get a welcome back to everybody here at ETHS, and to know that we are back in school, and that, oh, and by the way, if some of you are having trouble remembering what day of the week it is Monday. Go Kits!